Nobody's going to invest in a business if you have 1,000 followers and you sold 10 T-shirts. Like, it's too risky. Like
Right.
you said, but if you can develop proof of concept, but the hardest part is to actually get to a point where you're already successful. So, what would be some tips that you would give to some? Because everybody wants to do fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, they start with like T-shirts, hoodies,
Yep.
sweatsuits. It's like easy to produce that type of garments or hats, stuff like that. What would your advice be for people that want to start a clothing business?
I think first, like, have a really clear vision, like know not just where you want to start, but where you want to end. Like, where do you want to land? Who do you see your brand sitting next to? Because that is like the number one question always. People want to kind of know, like, where do you want to fit into the market? I think having that clear vision also helps you decide like what you take on and what you don't take on, what partnerships you take and what partnerships you don't take. Who do you actually gift your product to and who you decide not to gift it to? So I would say start with the vision. Then I think building out a community is like so important. Like that community piece, I mean, that's how we've grown HFR. It has been our community. So building out the community piece is really important because you need somebody to sell to. And a lot of times designers spend a whole lot of time designing product that they love and they have nobody to sell it to. And the third thing I would say is like build relationships with the fashion industry because whether you love it or not, like those are important relationships to have.
How did you build your community?
Yeah.
So again, like my community when I first started was really built by doing lunches, brunches. I sent cupcakes out all the time to people. I sent personalized cards out to people all the time. I researched when people's birthdays were and sent them books. I was really, 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 as a matter of fact, I worked with Steve Stout's agency, and the way I started working with them, they brought on my first sponsor was by sending a cake to the office. I sent a whole cake to the office. And my strategy was when this cake is in the office, people are going to say, whose birthday is it? And then they're like, it's nobody's birthday. Well, who brought the cake? Harlem's Fashion Row sent the cake. And I knew that would be the story around the office. So it's like, how do you do things that are just different to kind of like get people talking? In terms of the fashion insiders, that was, me reaching out, cold email. I cold emailed Stephen Cole from the CEO of the CFDA and asked him, hey, will you come do a conversation with me in Harlem? And he came in Harlem and we had a conversation at the Schomburg. Well, 2020 happened and then a whole lot of people started to reach out. That was when I built my relationship with Anna Wintour was in 2020, but that came through the relationship with Stephen Kolb, who I had reached out to 7 years earlier, So it's not being afraid to reach out to people and to kind of meet them halfway.
What was that like, the conversation with Anna Wintour, who was looked at as, the person when it comes to fashion? Everybody knows her from all her work in Vogue, but what was that like for you coming from Memphis, building this brand and having that moment?
So I've never told this story, but I got a call from Anna Wintour's office on a Saturday morning. It was the morning of my sister's wedding, and I wasn't expecting it. And the first thing she said is, I told her, I was like, oh, it's, my sister's wedding. And she's like, what are you wearing? I was like,
good question.
But her and the CFDA end up giving $1 million to our nonprofit that we started in 2020. But that first conversation with her was actually a real conversation because at the time there was so much going on. Like George Floyd had just been murdered. Companies were finally saying, wait, we don't have any Black people in our office. Like, are we doing enough? So it was probably one of the realest conversations someone has had with someone like her. But we had a real conversation. We talked about like what she could do from her end. We did some things with some HBCUs through her team at the time. And then what was crazy though was in 2021, she showed up to our fashion event. We held it on a street in Harlem. Nobody knew she was coming. And so she pulls up on the block on 137th Street to present the award to Carlos Nazario, who is an incredible stylist. And the whole block, people were like, is that Anna Wintour walking down 137th Street? But that was like a huge moment for us, a really big moment for us. And we did the fashion show on the stoop of my apartment that I used to live in Harlem, where actually the idea for HFR was birthed. So she's standing inside the apartment, and I was like, Anna, I need to get a picture of you inside the apartment because this is like a full circle moment. And she's like, it is? She was like, it is? I was like, yeah. And so I got this photo of she and I inside that apartment, which I'm like, I keep that. It's actually up on top of my desk.
Dope. So
Yeah.
let's talk about the collaboration with Nike, with LeBron.
Yeah.
How'd that come about?
So 2017, our 10th year in business, hardest year ever. I thought every brand was going to want to partner with us and like come on board. Really, no one did. It was really, really tough. I lost money that year, put money on my husband's credit card. It was a whole situation. And I kind of said, you know what? If I do anything next, I want it to be a real collaboration with the product. But I didn't know like how that would come about. But I feel like words have so much power and intentions have so much power. So September was our event that was really tough. In November, I did an event in Memphis because I've committed to doing something in Memphis every 5 years. I feel like you should always give back to where you came from. And after that event, I got an email from someone who said, hey, there's an athletic company that wants to do something with Black designers. That's all I can tell you. I'll send you over. If you're interested, I'll send you an NDA. And I was like, sure, I'm interested. My mind was not thinking in a million years that it was Nike. So the NDA comes through with the swoosh on it. And I was like, wait, what? I didn't send it to my attorney. I just signed the thing and sent it back. And then the next day, I'm on a phone call with the brand manager for LeBron at Nike. And it just felt so unreal because I was just in this place of like, man, I don't even know where to go from here. And now I'm on a call with the brand manager from LeBron. And she's talking about the fact that LeBron was like interviewing on this bouncy ball in the Nike corporate offices, and they were calling him the strongest. And he was like, no, I'm not the strongest. Black women are the strongest. My mom is the strongest. And they decided there was a woman there who worked on his team, a Black woman, who was like, I want to do something with that. And that was how that sneaker came about. And so she was like, just send me over some designers that we can potentially work with on this sneaker. And I created a whole deck for them. She was like, just send me an email with their websites. And I was like, nope. So I told their whole stories, 3 designers, told their stories, why I felt like they resonated with what he had said. And they hit me back and was like, we can't pick just one designers. We've like printed out the deck you sent. We put it on the wall. We want all 3. And we were in Portland with about 20 people from their team, maybe 2 weeks later. And that was how that sneaker started. So the shoe
was 3 different versions of the shoe?
It's 2 different versions.
Yeah.
It was the white one, kind of the off-white one, and then also a citron, like a yellow one.
They work together or?
Yeah, so when we had the meeting where we talked about, so here's what's funny. So we go into this meeting because me and all the designers were at like just a really low place in our lives and in our businesses. I was like, we're going to go in here and we're going to be fully ourselves. Like, we didn't dress in Nikes. We dressed how we normally dress. We were the most dressed up people in Nike. But I said, we're going to go in here and be our full selves and we're going to tell our real stories. So we got in, we tell our stories, and the woman from Nike was like, all right, let's get ready to, talk about this project. And I said, you know what? We're excited to hear about this project, but we just told y'all our stories. Like, that's deeply personal. And we don't know anything about you guys. Would you be willing to share your stories with us? And Liam Merritt started off. You guys know who he is? He was the one who like signed LeBron and found him when he was 13. He's like the OG at Nike. Mm-hmm. So Liam Merritt started the story off talking about when he was in Kansas City. He was a little boy. He was poor. He used to look up at the airplanes and say one day he would be on an airplane. Then Ted, who works with Lynn, went next, and he's talking. And then we get all these stories. So by the time we actually get to the project, we're so connected because we know each other at that point. And so when the designers go into design, it's literally like looking at magic. I was sitting back there with the team and we're just looking at them just go for it. One of the most amazing experiences of my life was watching them co-design that sneaker.
Did was there a reaction to when Bron actually saw the shoe?
Yes.
How was that?
So when LeBron actually saw the shoe, we met him in New York. He saw the sneaker. You see the bracelet around it, right?
Yeah.
So the designers actually designed that so that you can wear it around your wrist or you can wear it as a choker.
Ah.
And so when we were telling the story about the sneaker, one of the designers said, LeBron, the sneaker is amazing, but I want you to know outside of the sneaker, like because of this collaboration, we built this incredible sisterhood. And people talk about Black women not being able to collaborate and that we're always in competition, but these are my sisters now. And he looked at them and he was like, that's the story I want to tell. I want to tell that story. And then when they showed him how the bracelet went around the wrist and the neck, oh God, he went nuts. He was like, wait a minute, people about to be wearing my logo around their neck. So it was a really, really dope moment. But he was so intentional about the story that was told around this sneaker because the fact that it involved Black women.
You spoke to him?
Yeah.
How was he?
We were there. He was very nice. And we honored him that year. So we actually launched the sneaker at our event in 2018, honored him that year, got a chance to dress Savannah for that event with Kimberly Golson. That's a designer that she wore. And Maverick was there, Rich was there, his whole Nike team was there, his Savannah was there, his Gloria was there, Zuri was there.
The whole team. The whole thing.
Yeah,
Gang.
they were all there to see him accept that award, which was really dope.
Yeah, and the shoe has been successful. As a sneakerhead, I was not able to get my hands on them.
It sold out in less than 5 minutes.
That tells you how great the shoe is. And it still has held its value. I think even now it's still selling on like StockX and Gold for like $700, $800.
Yeah.
Which furthermore lets you know how great the shoe is. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.